Welcome to Paper Gold Deep Dive Excavation, episode number 8. Cody, if you can believe it, we made it to 8 episodes.
I
We have
can't.
a very special guest today, someone who works very closely with us day in and day out, and definitely helps us out with the Paper Gold Discord and the links that I can't do and the hashtags that I can't do and everything else.
He does more than help us out. He pretty much keeps the Discord running for us. So,
He saves us on a daily. He saves us on a daily. So today we're going to be talking with Tom, who I have known for just over 2 years. And I think what we'll do is Tom has a great journey in his 2 years of being a bookseller. And I first came to know him when he reached out to me. So I think, Cody, the first thing we should do is have Tom introduce himself and then maybe read that first text he sent to me, and
Uh,
that will be a great launch pad for where he's at now, which is just unbelievable as a full-time bookseller on multiple platforms. And I want to say killing it on these platforms. He's doing very well and he's ever growing. So
sure.
Tom, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from geographically, and then you can read that text message and show everybody where the relationships began.
all right. My name is Thomas. I am from the Chicago suburbs of Illinois. I have been in the book business for about 2 years now, a little over that. And I met Max into about a year of into my journey. I actually started my book business moving down to Florida in Max's neighborhood before I even knew who he was, but we can get into that a little later. But nowadays, I run a bulk operation along with a business partner. We purchase books by the semi truck, splitting them in half. I sort through my Gaylords, they sort through theirs. We combine stuff for sets on eBay and possibly even Amazon. And yeah, that's basically what I'm up to. I do have the message pulled up if you wanted me to get right into that.
I would love to hear this. I just think this is just a great launch for us because where you are now, there's no way you could have seen that when you press send on that text message to me, because I know that we developed a relationship pretty quick. I was selling books for you on a rather quick way of once you sent me boxes of books, you were sending me weekly boxes of books, and we were selling a lot of great stuff early
Mhm.
on, but we developed a relationship, business, and friendship from that. But there's no way talking to you today with Cody that you could have seen when you hit send on that text where the journey of books has taken you.
Exactly. Yeah. To preface, I last year, well, in 2022, I got a storage unit full of books. I was just browsing an auction site looking anywhere to get books at this point, and I stumbled across this listing. I saw some books in the photo. I can maybe provide some photos if you guys want to toss them up, but I saw some books in a picture and I'm like, okay, there could be some books in this storage unit. And I ended up getting it for $200 all in, including the U-Haul cost. So I think the actual storage unit was like 110 with fees. I walk into this unit and it is maybe a 10 by 30 unit, boxes and boxes, over 200 big boxes of books. And when I brought all these books home after 2 days of excruciating moving, I realized that most of them were non-barcode, non-ISBN books, and I was lost as to what to do with them. I was about ready to wholesale them. And I am very happy that I didn't, but I happened to see Max on a podcast. It was Books and Bourbon, if you guys are familiar. And I happened to shoot him a message, and then everything changed from there. But here it is. Hi, Max. My name is Thomas, and I'll keep this short and sweet. I saw you on the Books and Bourbon podcast a few months ago and know you do most of your work on eBay. I recently bought a storage unit stuffed with books, seemingly older material, and I'm just starting to go through them. I want to know what advice you have to properly look every book up because I don't want to miss any gems hidden in the lot. That followed with a video of 3 pallets tarped up outside of my garage and my entire garage stuffed with boxes and boxes of books. I followed by saying there's also plenty of set material in the boxes, and I want to know if you think I should wait until I'm all done searching the list or list a set and adjusting the listing with more books that I may find in other boxes. And I sent a picture saying, here's some stuff I found in box number 1. and it was The Greatest Masterpieces of Russian Literature. I believe that's by Heron Books, and the Charles Dickens Centennial Edition, also by Heron Books. A great first box. Also, since I may be dealing with too much inventory for myself to handle at the moment, I may look into consigning some of the stuff with your company, but I'm not sure yet. And then you said, Thomas, call me when you can.
Right to the point. So what's amazing to me is multi-levels here. One, we're still selling the books from that initial phone call. My memories of this are you putting stacks of books about 10 or 15 high on the bed of a truck or a table or something.
A table. It was a table in my backyard, and then I eventually had enough room in the garage to put a pop-up table in there, so I started doing that as well.
And you would shoot me over 20, 30, 40 texts a day, 10, 20 books high. And then I would just tell you, I would type you back which ones were good. And the next few days I'd see boxes arriving at my door, and away we went. But Cody, what's amazing to me is, where he is now. Now he's doing bulk. He's buying Gaylords. He has a warehouse. He's doing eBay. He's doing Amazon. He's running our Discord for us. For someone who wasn't sure of Barcode Books, I'm pretty sure he's knee deep in the book business now.
And just correct me if I'm wrong, but you were in Amazon already, right, Thomas? Before you started speaking to Max, right?
Yeah, I was in the book business for a year at that point, just about, and for the 2 years that I've been in the book business, besides when I started getting into bulk, it's been a lot of up and down. We can get into that if you want, but I was on and off sending stuff to Amazon, and I think I may have had some eBay listings, but not very much at the time.
Yeah, and I think a really interesting point that we should be talking about today is you're one of what I would consider the very few, all things considered, of the bulk sellers that we've been speaking with who are truly implementing what I talk about, which are the non-barcode books on Amazon, and getting a perspective, from someone who's really, I know that there is a lot of growing pains with getting the workflow and moving forward with that, but just seeing the difference and what that has made to your business will be a great topic for us today too. So I'm not sure if you guys want to go into where your current pain points are right now, or where we want to start on that point, but I think that would be a great place to at least drive the conversation forward. Is where are you feeling right now your biggest pain points are, and what would you like to try and see improved in your business?
Okay.
Yeah.
Where I see a big pain point, and I'm actually in the process of solving that, is listing. Previously, I would be sorting, and I would just have a bunch of books to get listed, and I wouldn't be so motivated to list it. It even honestly got to the point where I was so uninterested in sorting because I knew I had to list those books later on. I really did not like the listing process, and I recently have got a lister who is in training. He's coming tomorrow to come and list more books. I've been following your method of how to train this lister and make sure everything is cookie cutter and clear for him as possible. So going to be working on that. And another pain point, which I'm not sure how to solve exactly, is I don't have that much downtime in between not having Gaylords to sort or a new truckload coming in. There's not much downtime. And I know with your method, you would set aside all the type-in books to then go through during your downtime. But as I
Sure.
don't have any at the moment, I'm not sure where to try and fit that in my schedule. I could take a day and do it, but then I'm
Yeah.
leaving Gaylords behind, and it's
Well, I'll tell you, I think I know the answer to that one, and that is going to be once you get your workflow in a better state, you're going to have that downtime because this time that it's taking you to process all of your Gaylords, it's not going to take you as nearly as long if you have a good workflow, right? So with what you're doing currently with processing the Gaylords, I think truly, if you set aside everything that's not your barcodes or easy ISBN books, like they're on the back of the book,
Mhm.
put those aside on the table to be sorted. Like I know you have your lister, and I'm trying not to bring things up that would be confusing because I know you and I talk on, almost daily basis. But since the way you're trying to utilize your employee is by the hour, you've even made mention to me, well, there's going to be times where I don't have books for him to list. Utilizing him for this type of thing is going to be key, I
Mm.
think, for that. Having putting that on your lister, because again, these aren't, you want to give him the side of your business that's time consuming but not challenging. As in, you know what I mean by
Mhm.
challenging, is in like it's the hardest part of you want you to be able to do the things that are challenging in your business. Um, so I would say you start processing your Gaylords faster by barcodes, easy ISBNs. Everything that's not that, have them go into, like, let's say, a separate Gaylord for your lister to then pull them out and be able to sort them by how I told you to sort them, which would be
Mm.
cover scans, ISBNs, and manual lookup books. I guarantee if you were just barcode slash ISBN processing these Gaylords, you will go through multiple Gaylords in one day. If you don't, I would be very, very, very surprised. Um, but doing that, having that's work for your lister that saves you time. And once you get all that done, I guarantee you will have time between your Gaylords to process all of that. And it'll be a much easier way to do it because everything's laid out in the way that it needs to be done, which is you're not going between ISBNs and manual lookups and then cover scans. It's you'll be doing one thing down the line. And obviously you save those manual lookup books for last because those are the most time consuming,
Mhm.
but you can you're cutting the bulk of these hard to look up books down to a fraction. And let's say that you didn't get all of your manual lookups done between the time period of the trucks. It's not like they're going to take up an absurd amount of space in your warehouse
Mhm.
if you do it the right way. If you organize and put these things in the right in the right order, the next time you'll be able to have those and to go through those and to process those. There will be time to process this stuff. You just have to keep that organization as you're going through everything. And that's going to be the key. Now, organization doesn't mean it has to look pretty, um, but it just has to be organized in the right way. That's going to be, I guarantee that will resolve that problem that you're having. But it has to be implemented in order to start seeing those changes. You're going between a lot of different avenues right now. And I know I
Mhm.
know you know how I feel about the sets, but there's again, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with doing sets. And this is just, this isn't me picking on you. I just want to bring this up just
Of course.
for everyone else as well. I am a believer that, with sets, you want to really, if you have unlimited space, do whatever you want. But if you've got limited space, narrow your sets down to sets you're seeing daily, or sets that you are picking up already complete. Because when we're doing this bulk game, I would say, half the time in my experience, I'm getting the majority of one set off of I'm getting the majority of one set off of one pickup, or, all of the set on one pickup. So
Mm.
I wouldn't, if I'm getting 3 books out of 10 for a random set, I'm not keeping all of that. There's no point, because if you were to do that, I mean, you're keeping a lot of your books in reality,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of books that are actual quote unquote sets, people wouldn't even really know about. Now I know you do because you love the aspect of the sets.
I do.
I know you do, and that's totally fine. It's just I think that you should be you know as well as I do that you're going to see these sets 9 months from now, the same sets that you're seeing now, right? So
Hmm.
why not devote your time to keeping your business flowing and your be able to process as much as you possibly can to get the money flowing in so that once you've done that, you can afford to have more people working and doing these tasks so that you can have more time to do that work. You can devote the time to having these sets, to organizing the space for the sets, to organizing and doing all of that, and really just cut that stuff down to your bread and butter sets you see often. That is, I mean, I don't have to tell you that that is taking up a lot of your time. I'm assuming still in some way.
I would say it's not nearly as much as it used to be. I did a big purge, and I think I'm going to be doing another purge of some more. The sets I really want to hold on to are the easily identifiable ones, like, the 50 Shades, the Game of Thrones, the Magic Tree House, Lee Child's Jack Reacher series stands out like a sore thumb. Stuff that you can easily look at, put aside, or even if it has like a number on the spine and I see it often enough, it's a much easier to build that set rather than having to research it. Okay, which one is this? Is this number 5? Oh, which ones am I missing? Because it has that number on the spine.
Sure, but those are also the same books that you're going to see often enough to want to keep. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
those are the same types of sets that I'm talking about too. So, but yeah, it's I think it's totally fine to be in love with that aspect of the business, but if you're doing bulk, you have to be able to process everything as
Of course.
efficiently as you can. And I think until again, I know you've purged a lot of what you're doing, but I really do think that cutting out that the extra fat that's not profiting what you need to be able to scale your business to the
Hmm.
point of getting there is going to be the help that you need for yourself to get to the point of being able to do that. It's not, but it's just like I said, you know that you're going to see this type of stuff all the time, whether it's right now or 6 months from now or 9 months from now, when you have other people who can start doing, if you want people to do your scanning for you or
Hmm.
whatever other portion of your business. But really, I mean, truly cutting cutting down to where when you get your Gaylords, have a minimum, man. Like be like, I'm going to get through at least 2 Gaylords a day. I think
Hmm.
that is a very, very easy goal
It
to
is.
to have if you're doing barcodes and ISBNs. And you could even increase it if you think you can do better. But have that set because I mean, if you were to say process 2 Gaylords a day, do you not think that you would be able to meet the quote unquote deadline of getting your next truck and then d- do you not think you will have that downtime, quote unquote downtime, to work on processing the non-easy books between that Gaylord delivery and your next? Do you how many Gaylords do you pick up actually in one truckload? Let's start
It's
there.
48. I get 24 of them.
So you get 24. And how often do you get a truck?
Uh, I'd say it could be about once a month, and I know what you're gonna say. I think I can process them in 2 weeks or less. It's just
S-
that I don't currently.
Yeah. Yeah, well, but then there you go. There you go. If
Hmm.
if but if you can narrow that down, but the key is either you're having your lister do this organization, but if you're not, you need to be on top of that organization as you're processing them. So let's say your lister's not going to start doing that organization for you. Don't just throw all these books into a Gaylord because that's just more work for you down the line.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that. So
Hmm.
like start putting this stuff on shelves or on tables or whatever you have because I know you have space in there to do stuff. It may require cutting out some of the stuff that you're doing that's not profiting you yet, but it's going to allow you to get to that place. It will allow you to get to the place where you can start sorting all that extra stuff with the time that you'll have by having somebody else doing that legwork. And when someone else is doing that legwork, you don't have to worry about, like, you're using Palette IQ. So you
Mhm.
won't have to worry about, oh, well, will they find this set? Because you'll have your ISBN hit list
Mhm.
for those sets, because you're going to have the time to create your ISBN hit list for the sets, so you know they're going to pull all of the books for those sets.
That's
And
true.
Tom, let me ask you this too.
Mhm.
How dedicated are you to be going from one Gaylord to another? Or are you the type of Gaylord person who is picking off the top, looking for all the good stuff in the top layer, and you look at all 24 first before you actually dive to the bottom of one?
No, I try and like I'll look like once we because we don't unstack all of them at once. We don't have the space for that. But when we unstack, say 10 Gaylords, I'll look at what we unstacked and I'm like, okay, that looks interesting. I like this set. I like that. I'm able to identify some stuff. But it's not like I'm just cherry picking
Right.
and then not going through them. I when I go through a Gaylord, I'm going all the way down to the bottom. Because not only are we just, when we unstack 10, we're splitting them. So if I cherry pick off one Gaylord, well, that could be my business partner's Gaylord when they get to it. So I'm just looking. I go from top to bottom. I'm pretty motivated to do that.
So let me ask you this, because when this does finally air, we're going to get a lot of questions about this
Of
because I
course.
took time. What are the positives and the negatives that you found from buying Gaylords? Because this question pops up in everybody's broadcast when they talk about this. So what are your positives and negatives?
Some positives is the number one, absolute number one. This could be done with any sort of bulk, but it's Gaylords in my experience, is that I don't need to run around from thrift store to thrift store to thrift store to library sale to another thrift store to a bookstore or a flea market. I don't have to run around all day. For most of my time in the book business, I was, doing that. And I recently went back to a library sale with somebody who you guys have had on before, Spencer, and I remembered why I don't go to them anymore. There's 50 people in line. It was a no scanner sale. I just went to go test my eyes, but it's just crazy. It's just hectic. I don't have the time to really think about my decisions. It puts you under the fire, that's for sure. But
Mhm.
I really like having the Gaylord in front of me, being able to understand what I want out of that Gaylord, and not having to worry about, oh, is this buy cost too high to make this set? I have the Gaylord in front of me, and I'm able to maximize it in any way possible. That is one big positive there.
So would you say the most difficult part of this is finding a good source, or is there something greater than that?
Finding a source, it just takes a lot of persistence, a lot of phone calls. Like for this particular source, I had to speak to this person, to that person, to this person, to that person. Just I kept getting led down a train, and maybe it was 10 or so people, different people I had to speak to before I got to the person I needed. Um, is it a great source? As you both know, the pull rate is not as high as it could be with, working directly with private collectors or, getting books before they hit the estate sale, something like that. I'm at maybe a 5% or maybe even a little above that now due to Cody's sorting method for my Gaylords. So finding a good source, I know there are other sources out there. I just happen to live in Chicago and there's a lot of big players in the area. So getting one of those other sources to give you a call back or get them to work with you over somebody they've been working with for 5, 10 years, whatever, that's pretty difficult. But it really depends on your area. You can find a great source at the snap of a finger, or it could take you 30 phone calls before you get one. It depends.
I
Okay,
think
go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think this is a great point to kind of transition, well, not transition, but to speak about what you were just saying, which was what you've implemented now, which is doing more than just
Hmm.
scanning the barcodes. I know that this is also, from what I've gathered before, a pain point for you is there's a difference now where you're having a acceptance rate percentage and profit per Gaylord.
Hmm.
So, that is another challenge aside from finding a source, right? You have to find a source that's raw. That's the key. You
Hmm.
can anybody can find a source of Gaylords, but finding a source of Gaylords where people aren't skimming off the top
Of course.
or whatever that might be. And I think that you utilizing the method of checking for Amazon the books that are non-barcode is a good way to tell if where you're getting the books you're getting, if they are being tapped. Because if you're seeing a drastic increase in your acceptance rate and profit based off of your non-barcode books, that tells you one of two things. Either the person that's selling you the Gaylords is already pulling off the top, or where they're getting their books from is also, somebody is
Hmm.
pulling from them from where they're getting the Gaylords. So what would you say your experience, implementing that? What would you say it has changed as far as your acceptance and profit? And has it taught you anything about what your current source is?
So I would say the acceptance has obviously gone up. I get quite a bit of ISBN lookups, and it's even just an ISBN on the back of the book that, maybe wherever this is coming from, that it was just ignored. And then the cover scans I do quite well with as well. But do I think this has been touched before? Maybe. From what I understand, this organization just gets donations in, but I think that maybe they're getting them post estate sale, or
Sure.
maybe it's from post library sale, something like that. So it's been gone through before. I mean, it must be. You don't get a 5% acceptance rate with barcodes if it's something that nobody has touched before.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Uh, I would say it's definitely helped my ASP. That's 100%. Like, I find a lot of $50, $60 books from cover scanning. Even I just posted the other day those two diet and cookbooks I found.
Yeah.
They're $30, but you would think they're total trash and you wouldn't have cover scanned. Nobody would look into them.
Yeah, and not only were they $30, but they were high. They were great e-scores and ranks as well, if I
Hmm.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's not like these were slow selling, books. These were books that sell daily on Amazon.
And Tom, what about them? Would you have initially said they were trash? Did they just look like bestseller diet books?
Well, one was a Weight Watchers book, and every other Weight Watchers book I've seen in my life sucks.
Okay.
Really, that's interesting. You say that.
You have a different experience there?
Yeah, absolutely. I find
Okay.
Weight Watchers to be phenomenal. I actually
Hmm.
can't wait for one thing to sell because it's going to be a fun topic for the show. I
Okay.
have I have a Weight Watchers it's sent into Amazon, but it's literally like it's about this big. It's a card that has a little slide thing that shows you
Hmm.
your points and scale. And I should be selling that thing for 30 to $40. Weight
Huh.
Watchers can be very good, especially if you see their keeping track of your progress books. Those are
Okay.
almost always good for me. So yeah, that's kind of a side note, but yeah, they can. The Weight Watchers is one of those that I'm always looking for.
I'll try and pay more attention to see what my acceptance is on those. I don't think I've gotten that many yet,
Yeah,
but
the
it could
cookbooks
vary
are
on
the
source.
cookbooks are hit or miss,
Hmm.
but anything that's regarding like the Weight Watchers program,
Yeah, I think that's
those are
what this
good.
was. It's a complete food companion with the points and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that
Yep.
could be it. And the other one was like a 70s, 80s diet cookbook. And I'm thinking, who's, using a diet that's that old? But I guess 9 people every 6 months are.
Yeah. Yeah. At least on Amazon.
That's why
Yeah, that's on
that's why we
Amazon.
talk about this stuff. That is exactly why we talk about it, because that would have been lost money.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely. I would, like, if had I not been doing this sorting method, because previously I was just, let me get through as many Gaylords as possible, toss, 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 toss. That would have gone to the trash because it looked like trash. I
Right.
wanted to quickly jump back just for a second to
Sure.
the sorting side of things. when you're saying to set aside the type and set aside the ISBN lookups that don't have it on the back and the cover scans, with the cover scans, I'm using the seller app as you are. I mean, there's really no downsides to letting a lister, like my lister, I mean, he'd need to have my phone in order to do that. Maybe that's something I should just stick to on my own.
What do you mean exactly?
Instead of, because you were saying, oh, have your lister go through those ISBN lookups.
No,
Uh,
I'm sorry. I guess I should rephrase. Have your lister do the sorting, as in dividing where they need to go.
okay.
You
Okay.
get what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing it, you're having to put them in what place they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're putting that on your lister, that's a thing that can speed up your time. You can just take anything that's not a barcode or easy ISBN and put it in a Gaylord so that they can then pick it up, put it in what place it needs to go. It's really one of three places:
Okay.
cover scan, ISBN, non-cover scan. That's it. But that way, that's just another step. It's another thing you can utilize your employee for, since you want to do the hourly rate. And it's another thing that's going to speed up your processing time to be able to knock these Gaylords out faster. If the faster you knock them out, the more space you're going to have. You can set up your folding table, whatever it might be,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to set these things out and then knock those out really quickly.
Got it. Okay, that makes more sense. I thought you were trying to say, oh, maybe he can, actually scan the ISBNs with a phone, or same thing with the covers. Okay, I now understand.
Yeah. But I
Hmm.
mean, I will say though, it's not necessarily a bad idea to have your lister with, like, let's say they have your Pallet IQ account
Hmm.
and they're scanning the barcode, or I'm sorry, scanning the ISBN, or getting the cover scan, putting that ASIN into Pallet IQ and printing out your barcodes for you,
Mm,
so that all you're doing is scanning the barcode for it. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
And
Yeah.
and you have the not now the only iffy side of that is when, let's say, the cover scan might be for a different edition of the book,
Hmm.
which you have to be careful. But you're to the point now where I think you would be able to see that, right? You could see a
Hmm.
book and be like, this may not be, maybe this could be the first edition of the book. So,
Hmm.
but if you have your lister, or your lister going through and doing all this, that's more time that you'll be able to set aside for that few percentage of books to do that double checking. So
Okay.
you could have him just sorting through it, but you also could have him just, I mean, the cost of your labels. You're talking
Hmm.
like
Like less than a
pennies.
penny. Yeah.
Yeah, like less than a penny per book. Now, will that add up? Yeah, but is it worth your time? Is it worth the cost to save you that time? I think it probably would be. So that is the potential for that. You can allow that side of things to go towards paying someone labor, so that you can just do what you do best, which is looking at the data.
Hmm.
So
That's something I'll consider.
let me ask you this, Tom, because a lot of people are going to marvel that you have 48 Gaylords coming in. Of course, you're splitting it with your partner, but
Hmm.
you have 24 Gaylords coming in at a time. You're 2 years into the book game. Where is it you want to see all of this effort go in the next couple of years? Are you looking to have 5 employees and a much larger operation, or are you looking for a certain number and you want to plateau at that number?
It's kind of tough to say. I know I really want to grow the book business far and beyond from where I'm at right now. I look at, some of the bigger players, 30 employees, doing 7 figures a year plus, some even eight. And it's incredible to see that. And some of them do that without even using a conveyor. They just have people sorting their Gaylords for them. And I think I'd like to be at that point, but I have an interest in other businesses as well. So will I stop or plateau the book business in order to favor growing something else in addition to it? Probably not. Maybe I'll be hiring out certain aspects, of course, growing the employee count, maybe hiring some sort of operations manager later in the future to tend to things like, I'm interested in real estate. It could be mobile detailing.
Mhm.
I don't know. I have an interest in a multitude of things, but I think within the next few years that if this lister goes well, let me put it this way. If this lister goes well, I want to get through 2 to 3 Gaylords a day, for 5 days a week. That'll bring me at least 200 to 300 books for FBA. Within a month or two, that should hopefully bring me up to 10,000 a month in sales on Amazon, because I've done the math with my ASP, and I should be at an FBA inventory level in order to achieve that. Then maybe I'll hire out somebody to assist in sorting. Summer's going to be coming around, so there's going to be a lot of high school kids looking for summer jobs. Even if I'm hiring them for 1 to 2 days a week on my end, my business partners hire them for 1 to 2 days a week on their end. I have somebody sorting with me, and then I just scale from there. That's really the goal. I realized after long last I cannot do this as a solo operation, especially with doing these Gaylords. I know I need to hire out. It's a necessity, and with hiring out, maybe I'm able to focus more on things like, okay, why is this book hitting the trash? Maybe I can monetize it somewhere on eBay, Pango, Facebook Marketplace, the bookstore, set on eBay. I can focus on things more like that because there's a constant operation going in the background. Whereas currently, if I want to talk about a set or figure out some other monetization method, I'm taking away from that uh, income source that is paying for the entire operation. So,
And I think that's a good topic too. I know that you've recently paused on it.
mhm.
Shame, shame, shame. But you have implemented what I've talked about too, with taking books that are duds, but have a high sell-through rate, and finding a store. Again,
Mhm.
these are we make mention your focus on the big box stores. You don't want to target your smaller bookstore because they can't handle that volume and probably don't even
Yep.
want those books. But targeting those faster moving books that are duds for the big box stores, what was your experience like with that?
So the first and only time I've gone to the bookstore at this point, it was I okay. I got to the bookstore and I was under the impression that maybe I could do something similar to you, where I could drop off my boxes, you do it with crates, and then they process the books at their own ease. When I get there, because I spoke to somebody over the phone and I believe that's what they said I could do. When I get there, they had me repackage my boxes into their store crates and then hand it to them. So that was a big labor time right there. That was maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. Then I think I brought them 300 some books and I got $136 or so in store credit. That store credit does not expire. And that store credit, as you know, can be multiplied, 3, 4, 5x into Amazon profit. It's the primary reasons why I haven't gone back is because, one, repackaging them. I know with a relationship, if I were to use crates or, just build a relationship with the store manager that just similar to you, I wouldn't have to do that. So that's easy. That's something that can get fixed. Also, it's a 30-minute, maybe 45-minute drive one way. It's not
No.
somewhere I typically go. I know with you source elsewhere. So you could go hit a thrift store or go to one of your sources as well as going to the bookstore. So you could hit a double whammy there.
Well, I also source from the store that I'm getting the credit from as
That's
well.
true. That's true.
That's a
So
very key point, actually. I remember when Cody did one recently, and it was the evening time, and he was sending me screenshots of some of his great finds from getting the credit that he got from the drop off. So the making the money while you're there, while they're working to go through your stuff is a very great use of your
mhm.
time. It's a very great use of your time.
Yeah.
So hopefully next time I go, I'm able to do that. But it is a 45-minute drive one way. If I'm repacking into their store totes, that's, another 30, 45, then another 45 back or so. And then I'm also sourcing in the store. So
Right.
there's a time cost there. And if I'm taking that away from sorting Gaylords, that I'd have to weigh the numbers there and see what's worth it. There's another smaller, it's a large bookstore chain, but they run smaller stores, many more of them. It's half price books. I might try going to one of their store locations that's much closer, seeing what kind of numbers I can get from them. because even if I can convert it into cash, because, if I'm taking that time away from sorting Gaylords to sourcing in a store, maybe that isn't worth my time, whatever. If I can get some extra cash, am I complaining? No, not really. So
Yeah.
I still have to weigh my options there with the whole bookstore thing. I know it can be very good.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
mean, what I will say too, is remember the first time, yes, obviously that is a little bit of a headache having to convert the stuff over.
mhm.
But the first time you went, you couldn't source from there because you didn't have the credit, right? So
Yep,
now you have the credit. Now when you go, it's not like it's a one-way thing out of the way from doing anything. You can start sourcing, and it will allow you to check and see, what you're able to find there. And I'm just gonna tell you, man, it will be worth your time, especially if you have um everything else in order at your
mhm.
warehouse and you're processing stuff the right way.
Yep,
You're definitely going to have that time. Let's say you have that minimum, do 2 Gaylords a day. Well, if you have yours set for 2 Gaylords a day and every day you're able to do 3 instead, well, then you have that time to play with by the end of the week because you're
that's true.
for up for Gaylords for the week. So, I'm telling you because I'm doing it, and you can see right over here all those black crates right behind me, and there's more that you can't even see. Those are all going those are all going to be going to my store. I currently have like $400 in credit, something like that. But that's with me buying books. That's with me buying stuff from my kid there, with me getting gift cards from there to
hmm
give to places that I pick up from as hey, thanks, just stuff to give to the employees as a way to anything you can do to make your sources happy and remember you, it's a benefit for you in the long run.
And Tom, I think when you do bulk like Cody,
hmm
you don't have a choice. You have to execute this plan.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's almost dumb not to
Right,
because
because
of how much money is being left on the table. It's
exactly.
30 cents a book for store credit that you can 4 to 5x. Yeah, it's almost a no-brainer. It's just that previously the time was a big constraint, and now that, like, let's say I do 3 Gaylords a day, that's 15 Gaylords a week. That's over half of my share of the load.
There
So
are there
I
are
have
too
the time.
many gay, bulk people out there who just toss these into their dud pile. They never think about
hmm
maximizing it. And as we talk about all the time in the paper gold Zoom calls, to me, this is a must in order to one, grow your operation, two, bring more money into your business,
Yeah.
and three, on a greater scale, you're recycling these books. They are going to go into the hands of new people.
Yeah.
No,
And
I'd love to save it from the recycler if I could.
yeah, and I would say too, you say 4 to 5x, and I'll say, the last time I went, I think on books I spent in credit like $60 or so and walked out with over 500 in profit on books, and I would say
Okay.
that's well over 5x, what
I think
what the credit was.
5x is the low end of what Cody and I do with this.
Yeah.
Very low end. I
Yeah.
think I think we're Cody and I are probably more the 10 to 20x
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
on many books that when we trade in and we use the trade credit, just because of the way we source and cherry pick books.
I just have my fingers crossed that maybe Half Price will be a similar store credit exchange and that sourcing in their stores would be just as good as Second and Charles. Because I know that would, I mean, if it's a 15, like a 10-minute drive versus a 45-minute drive, and I don't have to repackage them, I know that'll be a huge time savings so I'll keep everyone updated in the Discord on that once I head over there. But I have my fingers crossed that'll be worth
Yeah,
it as well.
I would, before even having a conversation with them, I would source. You don't have to buy anything, but
hmm
just go through and
Okay, that's fair.
look at what their inventory is like first, and see the types of books and the types of and the way that they're pricing their books, and how good they are at figuring out what the book's real value is, because
Mhm.
like I said, that's going to be the key to making sure that this is how you get that 10x. This is how you get that 20x in your in-store credit trading, is by being able to find a place where they're just looking to sell the product. They're not necessarily finding
That's
the
true.
best value for the product.
And this is that thing that we've been talking about, which is playing chess and not checkers. Checkers is just dumping the duds and getting rid of them and not maximizing the Gaylord. Putting a little bit more effort and maximizing what you can get for this is playing chess. And that's what we're trying to do here.
And that 45, I will say on the same point, you have the same scenario I have, which is my store is like 45 minutes
Mhm.
away from me. Uh, but if you're bringing, it's not like you're going and bringing 3 boxes every time you
Course.
go. You're bringing hundreds of books each time, and it's not like you're going once, even really once a week. Even you'd probably going once every 2 or 3 weeks to drop this sort of stuff
I,
off.
to be honest, if I'm going to be doing the 2 to 3 Gaylords a day, I'd probably have, oh boy, it could be more than a Gaylord a week for the
Right,
bookstore.
right. But
And that's just me. If my business partners aren't choosing to do that, that would just be me.
right. Yeah. Well, okay. Even so, if you're
It makes
doing
it
it,
more worth it in
doing
that
that, yeah,
case.
that just means just more profit
Yeah.
coming in on that end. So, and just because you do this, it does, and I've already offered to you, I'm willing to give you crates to be able to make that
We could
happen
talk about that after the
for
show. I
for
wanted to ask some questions about that.
yeah, for free. Just give them to you so that you can start doing
I
this.
appreciate that for
Yeah,
sure.
because I want you to be able to see how you don't have to source every time you go too, you could just go and make, like with me, sometimes I'm making the drop off and I'm gone, and
Hmm.
I'll get the call the next day saying, hey, you got $90 in cash or $180 in credit, what do you want? And and
It's a
that's
no-brainer.
that's it on my end.
And he'll roll it over into the last one he had.
Hmm.
So imagine, I don't know, imagine walking into this bookstore and you have $500 to $1,000 credit, Tom.
Yeah.
You know what damage you could do for you? I mean, in a positive way for your business.
No, that's I know that going forward with the lister is going to be the catalyst into the next level for my business. I know that 100%. There's no like thought in the back of my head, "Oh, I'm going to have to list all these books. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it." It's just sort, 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 and it'll open so many more doors and avenues for time-wise for things like the bookstore uh and just sorting, 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 sorting.
And I'm sure Cody is too, but we're both happy that you finally hired an employee because you said it earlier.
I'm
You've
past due.
realized you can't do it yourself. Cody has 2 employees. I
Hmm.
have 2 employees. We realized a long time ago, in order to grow and grow the right way without stressing yourself out, you do have to invest in your company, invest in yourself, and hire employees. And Cody and I talked to a lot of the members of the Paper Gold community, and I could very, very confidently say anyone we've talked to who has hired an employee has never looked back.
No, it's very hard to regret it because you look at how much value they're providing per hour or per book, depending on how you're paying them, and it's just okay. I'm paying this person, maybe 45 cents a book or whatever the case may be to list,
Or by the hour, yeah.
yeah, or by the hour, and you're sending out $500 to $1,000 per Amazon box. Is it? I mean, of course, there's time to sort or source with that, but I mean,
But even beyond
it's a
that,
no-brainer once
even
again.
beyond the profit side, it is, I don't want to say headache, but you're cutting out stuff that you don't enjoy
It's a
from your
headache.
business. Yeah. It
It's a
yeah.
headache for me. I
Yeah,
don't like it.
but exactly, you're cutting out the thing that you don't like, which I think is it's a great motivation to keep processing and
Of
to keep
course.
keep knocking. But I will, one thing I will say that I think will be the biggest challenge going forward for you, at least in the short term, which is making sure right then and there that product needs to go to Amazon, and making sure what price
Exactly.
point things need to be at for, let's say, your long tail books,
Mm-hmm.
that that like you're pricing that right then, so that there is no question, and your listers making sure that they're going in at that price, and to set exceptions for those books for your repricer.
Yeah.
I am still surprised, even though I was pretty confident in that once I converted so many books to merchant fulfilled and made sure that they were priced to sell, how many books I'm selling daily that are above 1 million, 2 million rank, that I mean it's almost even sometimes, some
Hmm.
days, with my good rank books, and they're
Yeah.
profiting the same, if not 10 times what the other books are bringing me. So getting and making sure that those books are ready to go to your lister, not set aside for me to figure out. No,
Exactly.
they're ready to go right then and there. And
No,
and I
that's
will say, you've got Palette IQ, so
mhm.
you've got that bonus of printing out that barcode.
That's what I've been
And
doing.
yeah, make sure you're using that too. I would not use sticky notes. I know
Nope,
you
I
did.
I ditched it already. So I've been pricing out books yesterday because I was doing my old way of sorting and then setting it aside and assuming I'm going to list it. Now I'm just
Right.
pricing all those books out for the lister to come tomorrow, but I am printing out the barcode for those non-barcode books, and I'm writing down C for collectible, FL for former library, and then putting my maximum price on there where applicable.
Right.
So yeah, I know going forward, I'm going to have to make those decisions. And maybe there are going to be those maybe books that I'll ask about in the community or ask you
Yeah.
and Max about it. Because I have had a few where I'm like, I don't know, this sold once for this, and I'm not really sure. I'll ask questions about those and not worry about, okay, uh, I have to make this decision right here, right now. There's no point in making a rush decision if you're
Right.
not confident. Otherwise, your business will just implode.
Yeah. But these are all that is just a learning exercise for you, because the next time you see something like that, you'll know off the bat. So each time, every
Hmm.
book that's like that, as long as you're paying attention and not just trying to, hey, what's this worth? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're
Yeah.
paying attention to why we say what something's worth. That's how you scale knowledge. That's how you scale the knowledge.
So I know that we're running out of time on this show. I remember every time you guys run one of these, you say the time flies by so fast. I don't know if there's any more particular questions that you have for me that you would love answers to for the show. I also would have a question for you guys as well. It might be pretty dumb, but if you have anything else, I'd like to go over that.
Ask your question before anything.
That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So you might find it dumb, but it's a question nonetheless.
Why won't he just ask it, Cody? Why does he got to
I need to
preface
preface, man. I have to preface. But I consider myself to be a social worker and a competitive worker as well. Like when I'm sorting, I don't know, I find myself very competitive and very social. Having people around while I'm sorting, even if I'm not conversing with them, I don't know, it just makes the experience that much more fun. And if I had competition, like I feel like direct competition, I feel like that would also just, for whatever reason, motivate me that much more. So my question is, how do I bring more of a competitive aspect into my business to, I don't know, it's just my inner me. If I have a competition with somebody, I want to win. And not having that, I don't know. I feel like I could be doing so much more if I did. It sounds so dumb, but
No, no, no. I get what you're saying. I'll tell you off the bat, um, if you're able to get into that mindset, you're competing with other Amazon sellers, right? So that
yeah.
that that'll that alone, well, when I'm telling you that I have that same sort of thought process. We're both gamers. We both play competitive games, right? We
Yeah.
know we know that. But when you sell a book on Amazon that has a sales rank of 3 million, and everybody's been sitting on their copy for $150 for 9 months, and you come in and you sell that within, a day or two of it hitting the warehouse, that to me is like a major victory. Like, you kicked ass at selling the book. But let's say that's not even enough. You have a Discord full of people who buy books, and you've got friends who buy books in bulk. Do daily sales reports, or like you have Pallet IQ. Do
Yeah.
daily reports on what your expected profits are, and be the and try and compete and see who can get the higher acceptance rate, who can get the higher potential profit, things like that. There are plenty of people who I'm sure would be happy to do something like that with you.
Tom, do you have a daily or a weekly goal number in how much you sell per day or per week that you're shooting for?
I find it very hard to generate a number like that for my business specifically. It's easier to maybe get one for sorting, because with sales numbers, at least with Amazon, it's not like if you don't hit your daily number, you could, like similar with eBay, you could just drop a price. Of course you could. You could just drop a price and get that daily number. I find it hard to try and generate goals like that. But if I have a goal like, hey, I want to get 60 books for FBA today, that I feel like that's more achievable for me.
Well, I'll tell you real quick, Max, that when you have your list and you get books in more consistently, you will be seeing a daily number more consistently, like a rough average on what you're going to start seeing every single day. You're going to hit at least X number. Like you're going to hit, let's say you want to start with $200. You want to see at least $200 in sales.
Yeah.
Once you have a lister and you get stuff going in every single week, you will start seeing a number like that to be able to try and get into that mindset of having, I want at least, because you said at the beginning, $10,000 is a number you're trying to hit a month. Well, is that correct?
I'd say so. I think that's a number where I can hit, and then I can maybe hire out some sorting and do other things.
So are you, you don't have to answer this, but are you doing 2,500 a week now?
25? No.
Okay, well there's your competition. Your competition is that number. You can go into the Discord and create someone to help you and go against them. But to me, when I was still teaching high school, I had that number every day. And what I learned is raising that number was all the competition I needed.
So I guess maybe it's just a different perspective of the way, like the way you're looking at it. Because maybe you see it as, okay, I need to hit my $500 a day daily number. In order for me to hit that number, that means source more books. I just see it as, I want to source this many books a day. Maybe it's not like a daily dollar number, but it's a daily sourcing number. And they both equate to the same thing at the end of the day.
So whatever your sourcing number is per day, raise it and make that your competition. And see what you are able to do by yourself, and with the wonderful aspect of having an employee now, you should be raising that number, right, Cody? I mean, he should.
Yeah. Well, I think Max's point is, you can start by competing with yourself, competing with your older self, or I'm sorry, I guess younger self, but previous days. Like, can I beat what I did yesterday? Can I get this number up from last week? Can I have, instead of 3 crates for my lister to have, can I get 4 crates for my lister? Whatever that might be. But I do get what you're saying. You want somebody else you want to be able to be better than somebody
like, hey,
else.
I want to sort more Gaylords than you today, or I don't know. It's just, I don't know why. It sounds so stupid come out of my mouth, I have to say, but it's just an innate competitive nature that I have, and I don't know.
I would say start there, but that doesn't mean you can't ask people.
I might ask around in the Discord. Maybe Hayden's up for a little challenge or something.
Hayden, there's other people who are using Pallet IQ too that you can just be like, okay, by 8 o'clock today, we all submit, what we're expected our profits and acceptance rates to be.
And you have a guest coming today from the Paper Gold.
I do.
And talk about someone who is full of desire and work effort and showing results. You may have your built-in competition when Wardell shows up today.
I might talk to him about it.
You may be beating him now, but who knows? With the way Wardell is going, who knows what's going to happen in 6 months? He's doing amazing.
No, he is absolute. Like the I mentioned it earlier, but catalyst growth. Like he went from not selling a book, I don't remember how long ago at this point, to selling a $1,700 book. And he's over here in Chicago sourcing thrift stores for the weekend when I think it's his girlfriend's birthday or something like that.
Love it, love it,
So
love it.
he is going.
What we'll do is, Cody, we'll revisit with Tom 3 more months from now. Of
Yeah,
course,
he's gonna have multiple listers at that point. He's going to
Hey,
have his
maybe.
he's gonna have
Hope
his
so.
organization down pat.
and
It's all
let's see what he's learned from this conversation to the next conversation 3 months from now, because he'll be able to impart that knowledge to the viewers as well.
yes, absolutely.
Well, I guess maybe I should just toss out some number goals at the end of this and see, where we're at the next time
Do it.
we're on. I'll say where I'm at right now, and then we'll see where I'm
Yeah.
at next time we're here. It's Hey, no judgment here. For my last 30 days, I'm at 3,271. That's my Amazon sales. Past 7 days, it's a little lower. It's at 660, lower from my previous 7 days. My goal would be, $10,000 for the 30-day, and then 7-day I would guess is 2,500. But ASP I think was sitting at 24 for the past 7 days, and then 22 just below that for 30. I don't know if I can go that much higher on that.
Do
Maybe.
you have your last 12 months? That's what I want to know.
Oh God, I don't want to look at that, man.
Well, but it's a great thing to see you'll be able to see a huge difference, man.
Cody, do you want his 2023 or the literal last 12 months?
Last 12 months. Last 12 months.
It's just under 11. I know we didn't get into it in this show, but I've mentioned there's been a lot of up and down with the business. The past 3 months make up a majority of that. So
Right. Yeah, no, and I understand, but this is what you'll be able. This is a really, even though it feels small now, the adjustment you're going to see a year from now in your last 12 months, right, is going
Yeah.
to be drastic. If
Mhm.
Especially as you continue to grow and to do more and to have your lister, and that's going to make that feel like an even bigger improvement, because yeah, sure, you may make more each month. You're already doing a lot better than you were, but these changes, they're going to feel better when you see
Yeah.
that number and that difference. So
We'll see where I'm at in the next few months next time I'm on, because I know this is going to be coming out in who knows when, in a month or two or whatever. And then by the time I get interviewed and by the time that episode gets released, there's going to be a lot of I hope there's going to be a lot of number changes by that point. So I mean, I'm going to be keeping everybody updated in the Discord too. So we'll see.
Well, it's going to be amazing to watch the journey. It's going to be amazing to come back and we may be talking to you sooner. It may not take.
Maybe I hit that $10,000 month in a month and a half. So we'll see.
I would love to hear that sooner than later, of course. But that will be the end of the show for today. We will definitely revisit you sooner than later. So I want to thank everybody for tuning into Paper Gold Excavation Deep Dive, episode number 8 with Thomas from Chicago. And we will see you in a couple months, Thomas, but I'm sure we'll probably see you tomorrow.
I'll hear from you later today, man. I'll hear from you later today.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
See ya.